Today I am working on installing some halos. Now, normally I wouldn't do something like this. These have a 3M adhesive backing, and I just don't know how long they're gonna last, but I connected it to a battery booster, and once I started messing around with the controls and everything, I mean, I gotta do it. I mean, it looks freaking badass. Now, I haven't done the other side yet, but I pulled out those pins and the bolt right here, and I fed the wiring through here, and I'm not exactly sure where I'm gonna tie in the power just yet. I did test this portion right here, that's a fuse, and I checked it with an electrical probe, and so I know that this has power coming from the battery, and man, I hate to like really cut into that, and so I'll probably mess around a little bit more. But one thing that I can say about this right here for sure is that the power is terminated to this when the key is off. So that part is tempting to me. Make sure that, you know, it's not going to be draining the battery. So let me keep working on this. There we go. Just like that. What I'm really curious about is how long these are actually going to last. But if they don't last as long as I would like them to, then I'll get rid of them, and then I'll use alcohol to you know, remove any residue that there might be. But so far, they seem to be going into place perfectly. Just wait till you see it when it's done. These things are ridiculous. I have a good friend, and I just kind of did a dry run and texted him a picture, and he said that apparently this is scary. And yeah, just wait, you'll see. That seems to adhere really well. Like went into place perfectly. I don't know, what are your thoughts? Would you add something that is attached with adhesive to your headlights? It changes the characteristic of the headlights a bit, but not much. Definitely want to take the time to wipe this off with alcohol though, to make sure that everything adheres properly. All right, let me get this side put back together and work on the other side. Okay, so with clean hands, I'm going to use an alcohol wipe and clean this off and give it some time to dry to make sure that when I pull the adhesive backing on the halo, it's going to adhere perfectly. As you can see, by removing the push pins and the bolt, it gives me a little bit of room to play. So I'll give this a minute to dry off. Just you wait, it's badass. I'm gonna go ahead and feed the wiring through here, just like I did on the other side there. On this kit, it has these quick release connections, so I don't have to worry about trying to feed this through anything like that. It's not enough space, so I can just take this part of the harness and feed it through here without having to tear everything apart. Good thing that they did was they kind of matched the different lines on the Talon headlight cover, and that way I can make sure that they're consistent on both sides. That looks pretty damn close to me. Obviously this is not adhered yet. Looks pretty consistent. So it looks like this is powered by a remote. I was thinking about whether I wanted to install a switch. In this case, I don't think that I'm going to, because you know, that involves a lot more wiring and the potential for stuff getting messed up. The good thing about starting right here in this corner is the frame and everything is kind of pushing it down together anyway. So if I don't get it lined up perfectly the first time, then either way, like the frame and body of this fixture is going to hold it together in place anyways. And once I get it perfectly lined up, then I can actually secure it to the rest of the fixture, just like I did on this side. And that seems to be holding together really well. just like that. Okay, so now those are intact and they're staying in place. The next thing that I'm gonna do is find a good ground and a power source. If I remember right, this is a fuse coming from the switch plate wiring harness right here. Obviously it could look different on every machine depending on what type of machine it is and how it was installed. But I think I'm gonna tap into this for the power source. Again, I did confirm that when I turn the key off, there's no power to this. So that's good. I don't have to worry about any parasitic drains or anything like that. And then I'll probably use a few self-tapping screws for a good ground and then also to mount the electrical enclosure. Actually, you know what I think I'll probably do is use zip ties and actually zip tie this to the frame, to the metal frame, and that way I don't have to drill any more holes in this. Yeah, that's what I'll do. But I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about with the power and key on and all that. So for those of you who are not familiar with these electrical sniffers, you find a good ground. Hopefully y'all can see this, but there's no power there. When the key is off, when I turn the key on, it's got power. That's what you want to make sure that it doesn't kill your battery and leave you stranded. That should be a good, safe, solid connection. Also because it's gonna be covered with the mud guard once everything is put back together. I have a hard time cutting wiring, but at least I know that it didn't come stock. So, you know, this can all be replaced. It's not like actually tapping into the original machine. That gives me a little bit of peace of mind. Okay, so before I cut any wiring at all, I want to make sure, like map everything out and make sure that I have, like everything is gonna reach where it needs to reach and make sure that it's gonna be clean and professional. Make sure that I keep this away from any moving parts or shocks or suspension or anything like that. Just so you can see what I'm doing. I'm running the harness or the wiring from the halo. Made sure I put it underneath all the hoses here. And on this side, I'm securing it close to the wiring that I installed for the winch. I know I can just kind of attach it to that. And that should be fine. Once I put everything back together, make sure I give it some slack, but I have plenty of room on this side at least. So I know that I'm good there. I'm about to show you guys why I'm willing to do this, but in the meantime, I'm gonna make sure that everything is still working the way that it should. This is what it looks like. Again, you can turn it off, on, all the different colors and variances. I still have a lot to figure out, but it looks like you can turn the light down, you can turn it up, green, red, blue, all kinds of stuff. It'll take some time to figure out, but it works. All right, let's tap into the power. So one of the problems with the Honda Talon is they put the battery all the way back here. Now, obviously, I'm not gonna run the wiring for these lights all the way back there, so I'm going to tap into some wiring. This is wiring from the switch plate. I'm gonna go ahead and tap into that. I hate cutting wiring up, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it because in this scenario, I feel like it's worth it. I'm just gonna go ahead and use a number 8 self-tapping metal framing screw for the ground. So that was pretty simple. Didn't leave a crazy footprint or anything like that. Just a small hole. So it's gonna look just like that right here. Gotta love self-tapping screws. Whoever thought of that was a genius. There we go. That is a good connection for sure. So now The most dreaded part is tapping into the wiring there, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. In this scenario, I was going to use 10 snips, but they don't fit in there. And then I decided to use a razor blade, but even then I can't see what I'm doing here because the space is so tight. So I decided to use these little guys right here to make sure that I don't mess up any wiring. That should be great. No going back now. I brought my lovely wife down here to give me a hand so I can see what I'm doing. Of course, now my lovely dog is gonna start adding his 2 cents. So I have the ground and I have the positive that I'm about to tie into that. In order to do so, I'm gonna have to cut this connection here and tie this all together. Think about the best way to route this. I think I'm gonna go ahead and tie these together and then have it connect to that one, just like that. So I have the wiring clipped on either side and I'm going to tap in this wiring as well. And these are the connectors that I decided to use to do it because they're insulated and you know, I can take them apart if I need to. I was debating whether to use a connector like this or these ones here, and I decided on this. Hopefully it's the right decision. I guess time will tell. I'll go ahead and feed it through this way to make sure that once I put the mud guard back on there, everything is going to work out as perfect as possible. To me, it doesn't matter whether I use a male or female end on this connection, as long as I have a good connection. That seems to fit on there perfectly. Make sure I get it lined up perfectly, because it's kind of like a one-shot deal here. That's a good connection. Now getting inside here, kind of running out of space here, but make sure I don't have any frayed wires. Obviously this is less wiring because there's only one wire here and there's 2 connected to that one. Normally you would think that you would use yellow to yellow. I'm curious to see if these would work. Yeah, it seems like that's going to be compatible, so I'm going to go ahead and mismatch here. But I know it's unorthodox, but I feel like this is going to be better in the long run. If it's hard for you guys to see, it's freaking hard for me to see too. So that's what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and crimp it. And that is a good insulated connection. So this is what it looks like here. Got 2 wires going to 1 wire. The reason I decided to use a different color here is because this connector is designed to go on less diameter and this one is designed to go on a wider diameter. Alright, now I'm going to plug it in. That feels super solid. I'm going to go ahead and start it up, check everything out, and watch it work. Let's see, what's your favorite color, guys? How about badass? Is that a color?